Hi again, I'm Joe Tye, CEO of Values Coach, and your coach for the next 59 weeks now as we go through this journey through the 12 Core Action Values, our 60-module course on values-based life and leadership skills. You know, there's an old Zen story. A student came to the Zen master and said, "Master, how does one carve a statue of an elephant?" And the Zen master said, "It's easy. You find a great big rock, and then you carve away everything that doesn't look like an elephant." And that really is a pretty good metaphor, isn't it, for the challenge of becoming authentic. You carve away those things that are not authentic, that are not part of the real you, the meant to be you. And then you build upon those things that are part of the authentic, meant to be you. And one of the exercises that I encourage people to do, and many coaches encourage people to do, is thinking about what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the things that bring you joy, what are the things that you're really passionate about. And actually, let's take a look at this with this little circle here. First, identify the things that you really love to do. You're passionate about doing these things. And you know, sometimes that's when you go back to your childhood. What were the things as a kid you really loved to do? Maybe you were quite a ham. Maybe that means you ought to become a motivational speaker. You know, maybe you just love taking puzzles apart. Maybe that would suggest being an engineer. What are the things you're good at? Now, I don't mean innately, instinctively good at. I mean the things that over time you have really made a commitment to develop the knowledge and the skills. Because if you have made that commitment, it could well indicate something that is part of the meant to be you, and not just something you have to do because it's a job. Third circle. What do you do that makes a difference? I really believe that we all find our most important rewards in life not by doing stuff for us, the what's in it for me factor, not by making a lot of money for us. I think the most rewarding aspect of life comes when we're helping other people, when we're changing the world for the better, when we're making a difference. I'm sure you feel the same way. We've all had that experience where you do something that helps somebody else and it gives you a glow for the rest of the day. We'll talk more about that when we get to the core action value on service and extravagant generosity and how you're the real beneficiary. But speaking of extravagant generosity, what can you make a living at? What do you make money at? And you know, when you put those four circles together and you look at the intersection, there is a sweet spot. Now, I used to play racquetball, and I understand in tennis and golf it's the same thing. On a racquetball racket, there is a sweet spot. It's that spot right at the center. And when you hit the ball, you know it because it whistles across the court or down the fairway if you're a golfer, which I'm not. That sweet spot is the spot where what you love to do, what you're good at doing, what can make a difference, and what you can make a living at doing all intersect. And one element of self-awareness is being aware of those things. What are the things you're good at, make money at, you love to do, you make a difference, and thinking about how can those things intersect. Let's say, for example, that you're thinking about starting a business. And it's something I think everybody ought to do. Everybody ought to do. Turn off the TV, spend a little bit of time in the evening. Start with the internet, it's never been easier. Keep your wrist down, start a business. Not necessarily because you're going to make a lot of money, though you might, but because it allows you to explore who you are and do something you love to do, not just because it's something your boss is telling you to do. But if you do that, think about this sweet spot. What do you love to do? What are you good at? What are you passionate about? What can you make a living at? What can you do to make a difference? That is a pretty good indicator of who you're meant to be. And in the workbook, we've got a lot more. In today's email, there are some other suggestions about that. Socrates, I believe it was, who said the unexamined life is not worth living. And a big part of self-awareness is doing that examination. What are the parts of me I need to carve away because they're not authentic? What are the parts of me that I really want to build upon to make that statue of the authentic meant to be me? That's self-awareness. Tomorrow we're going to talk about self-mastery because if you're not able to master yourself, then no matter how aware you are of yourself, you end up being your own worst enemy. So, get to work on the workbook. Come back tomorrow and we'll proceed.